I hope you're having a beautiful day, making a cup of coffee. In my new thrift shop mug, you see all the pretty colors on there. And so I have my apron on that is of the polar bear. You remember us making this together. I thought with all this cold weather, it's really appropriate. And this, guess what this is? This is the hoodie, the Granny Square hoodie we made together. I just pulled it out and I'm like, you know what? I'm going to put it on. I probably should have long sleeves on, but I just don't know. I feel better with the short. But look, isn't that adorable? So anyway, welcome to Echo Art with Carmella-T. We create with our recycled materials, fabrics, and supplies. And it's our way to give the earth a little hug. We create as much as we can with the natural fibers and the recycled. And recycled yarns, recycled fabrics. So I've had a couple of questions lately. Oh, and by the way, if you're coming back, thank you so much for coming back. And it's because of you that I'm doing the video today and all these videos. But some of you were asking about the method of Kiwandi. So as I explained, I pull some of a great part of the method and the skill set, but kind of manipulating it in my own way, but it's totally Kiwandi inspired. So with that, we're going to do a piece today, and we'll be answering some of the questions as we go through. There's been a number of questions that have come in, and recently. So I think, you know, I have over 700 videos out there, and many of them, yes, are on Kiwandi inspired. They're on Boro Sashiko inspired. And I have my book. I'm going to, I'll get that book out too. I want to, well, or maybe we'll do that in the next video. But I guess I can bring the book out and reference it anyway. Because I wrote the book because I was getting so many questions on these pieces when I would do them. And I figured, well, this is a great way to put the Q&A and, you know, information and everything I'm doing. So with that, we're going to sit down together, and we're going to, I was thinking of doing the coin bag, and I said, you know what, we're not going to do the coin bag today because well, it will take a while, and I probably should have started, you know, a little earlier and whatnot. So let me just pull up here a little bit. So I just make sure I have everything in front of me here, including my thread. Okay, so for those of you who kind of want to do this, you want to join, and you're like, just kind of join us in creating. So this type of thread, this is called lacy crochet thread. And you can find this readily at thrift shops. You really can. I mean, you find them even just totally unopened. I don't know why there's so many of these at the thrift shops. I think people or artisans, they kind of want to try it, and then they're not really liking, because this is the type of thread you use to crochet doilies. So one moment, I want to turn down the music. Hold on one moment, please. Okay. And that way the birds can still hear it. I hope everyone's doing well today. You know what? We are still in the negative. We're still in the negative numbers here in Vermont, like all over Vermont. It's like today, I think they said something like it was like 9 or 10, but it feels like -6. And, you know, when it's like this, even if you're not going anywhere, you have to go out and start that car. and warm it up. And when I did that, I was absolutely chilled. I haven't been feeling it as much for some reason, but is a damp chill in the air today. So thank you for being with me. This is my new thrift shop New Year's mug. It costs 99 cents. It's gorgeous. It's brand new. Dishwasher safe. Isn't that adorable? Just saw speckles. Okay. So if you're going to do this today, your lacy crochet thread, get an embroidery needle that has a little sharpness, or you can use your sashiko needle. You can use a sashiko needle because we're going to be doing our visible stitching. Now, and your scissors, and if you want, there's a couple different things you can do. Now, what I want to do is make this wall hanging so that I can afterwards, and I don't know if we'll do that whole thing today in this video. If not, we'll just take another video to show you the different ways to hang your wall piece. But I think I'd like to put it on this piece of wood. I had scraped this down and just got it nice and clean. And you can wash these and, make sure you get them clean. But it's just a piece of scrap, wood that was on the ground. Okay, so we're going to put that back there. That will be totally after. Lacy crochet thread, use whatever colors you want. Now I have this piece, and I'm thinking maybe for adornment. I might, if I decide to do a little manipulation of shibori with the fabric, this is the piece I'm going to use and do that. And we may do that. I get very, I don't know about you if you're doing videos, but when I'm off the video, I'm definitely more in a creative zone. There's no way around it. But I am in a creative zone here with you and in a different way. And I just love it. I totally enjoy it. So I'm going to put that over there for the moment. So these are the pieces that I've got to work with. Look, check this out. You saw these yesterday. These are thrift shop. These are brand new thrift shop pieces. Oh, I love these. Just check those out. So I'm going to be cutting little pieces from there. Now I do have also, look, I have this bag. This is what I just encourage artisans. Seriously, if you're doing your Kiwandi or your Boro Sashiko, have all of your scraps like in front of you. You know what I mean? Visual. And you may decide upon, like I did, I'm like, oh, I just love those 3 colors. I'm just going to go for that right now. But we're going to do a Kiwandi piece. Can you do a Kiwandi piece with just 3? Yes, you can. You can. But you can use all different colors too. But we're going to start with those, okay? And I may kind of like dip into this bag afterwards. I really wanted to take this morning to take all these white pieces out, and I didn't get a chance. And that will be something I will work on. Now, I'm just going to pull a bin closer to me right now and get this so that I just want to show you something. I put, now, you're saying, Carmella, just get started with the project. But a lot of this just makes your project so much easier. I put all of my denim, and I may just use this piece, all of my denim in this small scrap pieces that I could fit in this bag. And I like the clear see-through, okay? Because it just now tells me, it reminds me and tells me, look, here's some seams. And I love the seams and creating, and I love the waistbands. I love the waistbands. Okay, so I just put those in front of me, and I'm just going to put this down here. Okay, and now this is lovely. Now I kind of do want to reference my, yeah, oh, this would be nice. Now for Kiwandi, we would, you're like, well, Carmela, it's supposed to be a square. No, it does not have to be a square. It can be a rectangle. It can be a rectangle, okay? This is lovely, though. I really like this right now. Now, you see how much I'm kind of looking to fold over? That should be, but, so can you start from the top designing? Yes, you can. It's fine. You can do that. And then you can fold it over, or if you just really do want to start from here, you can do that too. Absolutely. I guess, my message is when you're creating an inspired piece, you start to manipulate it the way you want. Now, if you're trying to go by a traditional method and you want to learn that, that's a whole nother thing. That's where yes, you're going step by step, you're following the way that it was done traditionally. So I am very non-traditional. I kind of, I don't know what my issue is, but I kind of look at things and then I start tweaking them and turning them and, doing little different things. So I always end up saying, yes, this is totally inspired. Okay. So with that, I really believe I'm going to go with this piece. This is a lovely. So I'm going to, yeah, that's beautiful. Okay, now I'll put the camera down in a minute, but let's get some, I want to show you something else. You see this little pile? You see how I tied it? It's a teeny little pile of scrap fabrics, okay? And when they get really tiny, then I put them in a bag. And then I put a bag together of silky silks, okay? So, because we're going to be working with those too. Okay, so then I have tulle here and a bunch of stuff. So, now let's see. Okay, let me get some pieces. Let's get some pieces of fabric together first. So I'm going to put this over here. I mean, I like this, yeah. If I went like this, it would be a little bit, I might like that length better. I think I do. I think I do. It's all right. We'll figure it out. Okay. So let's get some pieces. Now I know I want to, I can't believe the beautiful fabrics I found this weekend. Oh my gosh. And look, it matches my coffee. Can you see it matches my coffee cup? I didn't even do that on purpose. Hazelnut. This is the time of day. You gotta smile, because you know what? If you don't, you're gonna cry. Hi, Palmer 812, and see. Let's see who's there. Oh, it disappeared on me. So start cutting your pieces. This is a small piece, so cut them small. And the viewer, I think the viewer who is asking the questions about this kind of wants them to be even. I'm thinking. And I mean, there may be a variation because that's kind of how I work. But just kind of cut yourself some scrap pieces, different sizes. Okay. And kind of make them like in proportion to your project. If your project, we got to do a large project. I am working on space right now. We're going to get to doing some quilts and wall pieces. The thing is, I have to have a venue to, well, I guess, I do end up giving them away. I just do. But, okay, so I have a bunch of little pieces here. So, now, too, look, I don't know. We're going to revisit that. So this is the thing. When you do Boro Sashiko inspired, or you do Kiwandi, you're going to need what they call a base piece. I guess I'm assuming everybody knows this. Let me bring you with me. And I'm just looking for something here. I was looking for my books. Okay, I will I moved them, so let me see if I can get my book, because I really do want to go through some of the Q&As that you typically have. Okay. Yeah, I'll get my book here. Okay. So first of all, those of you who are not familiar with Boro Sashiko or Kiwandi, you're going to have typically 3 layers. That's what makes a quilt. Kiwandi means quilt. And Boro Sashiko, that's how they do their quilts. And hi, Helen Taylor. How are you? Okay, no prob. But you're going to need a base piece. Now, does it have to be denim? No, it does not have to be denim. But you probably want a nice cotton piece or tightly woven piece, or a piece anyway that's cotton and easy to sew through or stitch through. It could be even a thin piece of wool. It could be flannel. It could. You want it to be a strong piece is what I'm saying. So this is your base piece. And it's not going to show, so you don't want to take a piece that, you think is really super pretty, because you're going to be covering it up. So then as we're going to place our Kiwandi pieces on top, that is considered the top layer. That's how I look at it. Other people look at these differently, but that's how I look at it. I'm like, okay, that's a top layer. Then when we're all done creating, sewing, okay, and you've done a piece, you see all your stitches and your top layer is done. Then you add what they call the backing, the back layer, the bottom layer. So that's 3, okay? So it could be, sometimes people put the same type of material that they used as their base as their backing. Some people put a nice pretty backing because you want, and I do. I like to put a backing with at least a little design or at least a pretty color if I can. So, okay, so to share just a tiny little bit with you here. Okay, so I do a Q&A here for a Boro inspired. And I say primarily these are the common questions that I get over the years. And a lot of these apply to Kiwandi inspired. Do you fold the edges? Okay, no, we do not fold these edges. We're working with raw edges. So you don't want to work with a piece like this, like I was showing you yesterday. These fray so easily, it's ridiculous. These are tapestry pieces, scrap tapestry pieces. These are tapestry pieces where they're going to fray quickly. So you don't want to use those. But you want to use the cotton pieces like that. Okay. Now, so no, you do not fold. Now, some people in the traditional Kiwandi, they will fold it around that first row. They'll fold it and going all the way around. And then some choose to fold it all the way through. I've done that, and oh my, I mean, it was really hard on me sewing. I had a hard time with that. Anyway, by not folding the edges of each patch, will they fray? And typically these will not fray. And if you're afraid of the fraying, you can always use an adhesive fabric. Okay. Do you need to add a backing to your piece? We do not need to add a backing. There are many pieces that do not have a backing. That is totally your choice. These are very strong and sustainable pieces without a backing. Okay? And what types of fabric do you use? So I tell you here, cotton is the fabric Boro was created with historically. In my experience, organic fabrics work best. Denims, various layered cottons, woven fabrics, linens, as they stitch easier overall. However, with that said, my mission of using scraps brought me to experiment with creating Boro with blended thrift shop fabrics. That's what I do. I do experiments and I just explore. The blended fabrics do not break down as easily as organics, which is another reason why I'm happy to work with them and extend the use of the life of the fabric. So we'll go over this more, but my book, and I'm not trying to be a little marketeer, but it is on Amazon. If you're interested in this as a craft, and I just share with you my experiences, and I share with you, we talk in here, there's a lot of different things. We start out about recycling, we go to inspiration, I share my poems with you. Anyway, I really am actually happy with this book. Okay, so we're going to put that over there. Now we'll continue here. So so this is, for those of you just joining or scrolling, this is the little piece of wood that I chose. I scraped it down and cleaned it up that I chose to make our little wall hanging piece on. Okay, so now let's get some more scrap fabrics here. And I'm going to move my coffee. Oh, I got to take another sip. This is hazelnut. I know I've said it like 10 times, but it's very good. Okay. So, this is gorgeous. Okay, so I'm just going to, here, we'll put the camera down here. Okay, we'll put the camera down because we're going to begin this project shortly. So, let me just fold this all the way. And for those of you just joining, we are just getting our little scrap fabrics together. And we are going to make our little Kiwandi piece. Look at this as daisies. You know I've been wearing a daisy pin the past couple of days. I was drinking out of my daisy coffee cup. Just saying. So, okay, these can be in strips, different sizes. And the other question is, do you iron? And yes, you can certainly iron. You can see this is kind of, you can iron before or after. I mean, really, you could. It's up to you. I am not sure what pieces I am going to use. So many times I will do it after. Okay, so we've got a nice little pile of the daisies, and I am making them small because we are going with this smaller piece. And we're going to measure this in a minute. And we are going to be doing coin bags. I know I kind of been saying it a few times, but we truly are, because it takes me sometimes a while to really move on to these projects, because I have gotten conscious of different questions coming into me, and I like to be able to answer them. Okay, so yes, you can rip this. Can your pieces be frayed? Absolutely, they can be frayed. Now, the difference between this fraying on this piece is this is a tight woven cotton. This really isn't going to go too far. Whereas a piece like this, I draw caution to, because yeah, this is like, look, this is just, well, it was coming apart. It was coming apart, you see. But anyway, so yeah, you just want to be conscious of just how how delicate the fabric is, and or how not delicate. Okay, so I just love these pieces. Okay, so now there's so many ways that you can make a wall hanging. Okay, so many ways. Oh my gosh, I can't even, when I start thinking about it, I just get a little crazy because you can use um, larger pieces, you can use smaller pieces. Now look, I really kind of want to look at this bag for a minute. So I'm just going to leave the camera down and let's just kind of do this for a minute here. Okay, look. Yeah. We're going to add this. We're going to add this. This is not a high quality cotton piece, but actually this is a blend. It's got a little fraying, not bad. It's okay though. This is okay. This will work. I kind of want a couple of these pieces. I'm gonna, yeah. Okay, that's good. So, okay. Now, let me add another. I'm just kind of getting my pieces together for design. Okay, can you see them? I don't know why that's not picking those up better. Okay, there. Now, let me go. I like this, so I'm going to save that. I want to save that. Okay, so there's another. This is a darker purple, but we really do have that purple. We have a lot of that. I am looking for colors to make it pop. Okay, that's what I'm looking for, colors to make it pop. And that might actually take away. Let's just start with these. Wait, I have something in mind. Hold on. If I can find it. It's a piece of we can even use more denim, but let me see. It's in one of my little piles of scrap. It's a brown polka dot, which I totally just adore. Oh, it's very hopefully I can find it. I would love to find that right now. Here it is. Here it is. Look. Look. This is going to go. We're going to use this. This is lovely. This will take away. That will take away. It just will. I can tell already. So, I'm just going to get this one more couple little pieces here, and then we'll start designing. And then we'll start stitching. So it's not a huge piece, so we don't have to worry about how long it's going to take us. Okay, we're going to get this done today. And you have questions, please post them, and I'll be happy to answer them for you right now. You know what I mean? And or you can send them to me. It's fine. Whatever works for you. Okay. So I've got about 5, whatever. So if I want to add, I can certainly add. Now, many times, I will work from a pile of all different fabrics. And we'll be doing that again. But there was just something about this combo I just really wanted to capture, okay? So let's see, I'm going to put this over here so you can get a little bit better view. And let me just get a sip of my coffee. Okay, so here we go. So for Kiwandi inspired piece, our finished piece is I'm going to leave this lovely frayed, worn out seam at the bottom. I want to be able to put some stitches on that. I kind of looking at that, maybe just, I don't know, we'll see, maybe some X's, X. Anyway, you can do different stitches. So this will be folded over for those of you joining just a little bit late. It will be folded over something like this, okay? So that's how, so when we're going to sew it lastly, not right now, I'm not going to do it right now, okay? I'm just going to start from the top. That's what I'm going to do. And that's how I'm going to do this piece. So, there's no rights and wrongs when you come to your creativity. Okay? So I'm gonna start, I want to start with this piece up here. Now with Kiwandi, you can start any corner you want. And the thing of it is you're gonna go around and then you come to the center. Because this is a rectangle, it will just bring us to the center pretty quickly, but that's okay. We're going to do different variations of this. Okay, this is my first row across. And let's see here. Okay, so you can overlap or you can underlap. It's up to you how you want to do it. It's up to you. Okay? So this is my first row. And like I tell everyone, every time I do my Boro Sashiko Kiwandi, for me, it's just easier to turn it. Even though this is a simplistic piece. And you're like, well, Carmella, why are you turning it now? You didn't even sew them on. So I'm just for the sake of it, I'm going to do my first row and then we are going to sew that first row on. Okay, and I just want to get my pins. And the reason I do this is sometimes I will change things as I'm going around. But I'm just pulling from the fabrics that we have. So look how lovely this, oh my, seriously, I love this. I really, honestly, I just do right now. This is a beautiful, this is going to be a beautiful piece. You know, sometimes you can just tell right off the bat. No, seriously. I just want to get this little corner. This is like, I love this already. I just do. Now, I love this purple daisies. I kind of want that to show. So I'm going to put that one underneath. And I love my checkers. Okay, so that's the first row on the long side there. So now I'm going to turn this towards me. Okay, so I can design this piece going across. So I love the checkers. Okay. We've got repeating colors, which I love. I have tried this before, and instead of all the different variations, because just because you're doing thrift shop does not mean you can't coordinate a certain little pattern that you totally love. It just means you've got a little bit more of a challenge in what you're doing. Okay, so we finished that row. That's complete. Now I'm going to turn this way towards me and complete the first row. Okay, I'm going to complete this row. So I'm adding a fabric there. I'm going to underlap that one. I just am. Now in Kiwandi, they do what they call tekili, and I believe I'm pronouncing it correctly if I remember the phonetic way to pronounce it. And what that is at the end, after you finished your piece, for example, and we'll do this, is you can take another little piece like this, and you can place it like in the middle, okay? Now in Boro Sashiko, I have talked to you about this, and in my book I talk about it, and I call it stacking, because I will use a number of these pieces. For me, in Boro, I'll take another one and I'll put it in the middle or something like that. So I like just that green right now, so I'm just going to leave that. So now we are on the last part of the first row, and I'm loving this. Now you notice these pieces are not even, okay, because this is how I do it. I'm not doing it evenly, okay. I'm going to make this one just a tiny bit smaller. And we're going to come around this way. And we'll use another checker piece here. And then we're going to close it. And I kind of want to get that off there. I can keep it on there, but I'm just going to take it off. And use this piece here. Now, if you look at it, okay, let me just move it. You see? This was our first row we started with, you see? I left my seam showing, okay? So now what we're going to do, and you notice I didn't do any folding because that's not how I work. That is not how I work. I use the raw edges, and let me tell you something, back in the 1400s, when they were doing Boral Sashiko and they were doing Boral Sashiko authentic, and even thousands of years ago, they're using raw edges. The sustainability of those are like hundreds of years. I mean, seriously, it people think it doesn't last. It does last. It does, and the reason is the stitches grab. The stitches grab the piece and just secure it. And whoops, I think I have to get more pins because my pins are bent, a lot of them. Okay, so you see I'm pinning it, going around, whoops. Oh, the other thing I meant to tell you, and I'm sorry, is you do, when you overlap these, you want to make sure it's about 1/8 of an inch. Some people say 1/2 an inch. Okay, it's up to you. And the thing of it is, if it's not enough of an overlapping, what will happen is it will open. You know, when you're sewing, it's not the end of the world, because what you can do is just take another piece and smack it right on there. You know what I mean? That's the beauty of the Japanese patchwork. That's the beauty, the concept of that. That's the beauty of Kiwandi, the city women of India. They take a year to make a quilt, an authentic quilt. So we're just taking, you know what I mean, a couple of hours here because we're so inspired by their beautiful, beautiful technique, their ancient, beautiful skill of Kiwandi. Okay, so this is what I'm going to do, is I'm going to take my lacy crochet thread. I'm only taking about an arm's length, okay? An arm's length. You don't want to, you don't, let me get my chair down here. You do not want to put lots and lots of this thread, of your thread, because if you do that, it's going to, trust me, it will nest. It will not. It will give you such a terrible time. And you're pulling and pulling and pulling it through. So now what we're going to do, I'm coming up here. You can start anywhere, but I'm just going to start straight in the back. Okay, now the one thing I want to be mindful of when I'm sewing is I want to be mindful of my spacing. I am kind of close to this edge here. So I'm going to actually, let me pull that out for a moment. I want to be a little mindful of my space, like about 1/8 of an inch from your borders, okay, you know, from your edges. And because you're going to come back around and sew those, maybe with a whip stitch, maybe with a blanket stitch, however you want. But let's get this first row sewed on, and I'm just kind of leaving it down here so you can see. I would typically pick this up and go through. Okay, so let me remove that for a moment. So you're doing your sashiko stitching. I guess I gotta pick it up. You're going to push your needle through. This is your sashiko or your visible stitching, just like you do in your boro sashiko, your boro pieces, okay? It's the same, and they do back stitches if they miss an edge there, but we're going to grab that edge nicely. I gotta kind of have to turn it this way so I can see, because I'm going too crooked there because I can't really see it. Okay, so this, when you have a piece like this plaid, it's lovely because it kind of gives you a little grid to follow. Okay, so I just did about 4 stitches there, and I just tighten it a little as I go. Now, I'm going to be mindful when I get to my corner. If you forget and you go straight to the corner, it's not the end of the world. You can pull the stitch out, but because with Kiwandi, you're going to be going around, okay, you don't go straight to the edge. Now look here. You see what happened here? It didn't grab the edge. So this is where I'm going to do a back stitch. I see that. I can see it. So I don't have to do 4 stitches of sashiko stitching, which is what sashiko stitching is. Several stitches, visible stitching in a row. But I'm going to do a back stitch. And I'm coming up and I'm going to do my sashiko stitching. There. Now, if you want, you can certainly measure and do all of that. I do it by eyesight. I do believe the city women of India do by eyesight. They're pretty expert at it, though. They are expert at it. So now I'm going to remove this pin. And I just love doing this. I need to have a sip of my coffee. Where'd I put it? Over there. Okay. So, so you see, for those of you just joining, we started about 1/8 or 1/2 inch from the edges. Okay. And now I am very close to my edge, so I'm just going to do 1 stitch. Okay. And what I'm going to do now is turn my piece, again, towards me. The row that I am working on is towards me. I'm feeling very comfortable. I feel good. I have a good eye view here of what I am doing. So you can always look at the back also and just see how close you are to it. We're pretty close to the edge there, but we're okay. Because I'm coming up and I am going to now go this way. I'm going down along the outer edge here of my first row, doing my boro sashiko visible stitching, and I'm doing a lot of stitches. And when you grab that many stitches, it shouldn't be difficult at all to push the needle through. If it is, it means the needle that you're using is too large, or the fabric you're using is too thick. Something's going on, or the tip of the needle is too blunt. So anyway, you should be able to push it through like that. And then you bring it through. I place it down, and I just love this process. Oh, look, I grabbed 2 pieces. That's okay. I'm going to leave it. It's fine. I grabbed 2. I wonder why I did that. You know what? Yeah, I'm going to leave them because it's okay. It's not going to hinder the artistry of my piece. So I'm going to do a back stitch and bring this up because I want to grab the end of the fabric there. Oops, my thread came off the needle. That's okay. So see, I grabbed that. You want to be conscious of your edges as you're going around. And Now here, as you know, I grabbed two pieces by accident, but you know what? If your pieces are really thin, it is okay to use, seriously, you can double them up. Because some of the quality of the cotton nowadays, I'm serious, it is, and these are actually thin enough, I'm not even worried about. Look, I mean, that just went through beautifully. I'm just doing a small stitch right there because I want to be able to get my edge. Okay, and now I continue straight down my first row. I'm pulling this pin out because it's going to jab me, and I'm just doing a bunch of sashiko stitching. Push my needle, you push. That's the difference between your visible stitching and embroidery. Embroidery, you pull. Sashiko stitching, you push because you're grabbing so many. You're grabbing so many stitches. This is a lovely. I really like this piece already. Okay, so I continue straight down the outer edge of my first row. Now, there was somebody who said to me, well, no, can't you start in the center? If you start in the center of a Kiwandi piece, you've laid out all your pieces, and in my view, because I did try it for the viewer, I felt very disoriented. I really didn't like it. The Kiwandi, authentic Kiwandi, will usually start on the outer, and then they go towards the middle. When you go towards the middle, it bunches up very naturally. That's a very natural thing that occurs. So, anyway, with that, okay, so the origins of Kiwandi are in Africa and ended up in India per enslavement and or treks for entrepreneurial excursions. And it was the persons who fell into the enslavement held on to this beautiful, beautiful, beautiful technique of creating quilts, and passed it down generation to generation. Okay, I got to put the pin on this here. And I do explain this in my book, by the way. I do. I'm not trying to promote the book, but the reason I talk about the book a lot is because I think it just saves a lot. This, I have to pull this out for one moment. I have to pull this out because I went too far down. That's just too far off, even for me. It's because I was talking. Okay, so sorry about that. Let me put this up here. I'm just talking to myself now like I'm yeah, this is what happens in your art world, right? You get into your own creativity, and that's where you are. Now you're in this different world. Okay, so we're almost done with the end of this row. Okay, so we've got the seam on this particular end because this is the bottom of it. So what you can do is consciously, you know, get the needle towards the back of your piece. Okay, so bring it to the back. Then we're going to turn this towards us. Okay, and we're going to continue. Now we're going to come up. This just makes it easier for you. It's not an absolute, but now you're coming up and you can see. I'm going to try to hold this down here. I'm going to try to do it this way so you can see, but it's a little hard to do that. But there we go. Oh, so let me just say this. For those of you who are just starting your sashiko stitching, your visible stitching, actually holding it down like this flat does help you. Once you get used to it, then it doesn't help you. Then it becomes almost a hindrance. But when you're first starting, it kind of helps you because until you get used to holding the fabric and your needle and maneuvering it and everything, this might be a nice way for you to learn to do your stitching. Does your stitching have to be perfect? Absolutely not. That's what sashiko stitching. The ones who are showing you how to do it perfectly are using patterns and grids. And yeah, they may use a grid like this actually and just kind of follow. And many times they're working in the top part of the woven part of the piece of fabric. And they're using a very sharp, small sashiko needle. So, and that is a whole different method than what I'm using. I kind of created this using the lacy crochet thread. I don't know if I created it. There's other people doing it, but that's how because if you can't afford the sashiko thread, if you can't, this is just another way to do it. And this way you're using recycled materials. So, okay, this is a lovely. Now I'm going to turn it this way. We're on our last part of our first row. Okay, so I want to go one more stitch over because I want that to be, a little closer to the edge there. So I'm going to bring it up here. Yeah, and that's very nice. You see it? So I'm going to continue now to do my sashiko stitching on my last row. And here I notice very quickly that I have, you see here, I have an edge. I want to make sure I grab that in the stitch. So if, you have an edge that's going to not get caught up in a stitch. You want to be conscious of that while you're going around. If you do miss your edges, you can certainly go around again. You absolutely can. In my book, literally in my book, you can go around again. Okay, so this we are coming to an end. Okay, so I'm just going to pull this through. Okay, and I just kind of want this to not go anywhere. So a lot of times what people will do is they'll put the thread around the needle and pull it through. I don't do that because I don't want the bunches. I just kind of weave it first in the stitch like that. I just weave it, and I'm going to get more stitches, and then I'll just put a very, small, like kind of knot in like that, but I'll weave it into the others, and that way it's nice and flat and it's secure. So that's how I've come to do it anyway. Okay, so now we need some more thread. But you're going to see after the first row how fast this goes. And for the second row, again, you can be as creative as you want. You can do overlapping, underlapping. I mean, it is up to you. Okay, now I'm going to take another sip of coffee, and then we're going to complete this row. That's a good coffee, and it's kind of not hot anymore, but okay. Okay, so right here, you can see I need to grab that, okay? And I've got my stitch really super close. You see how close it is? So it's fine. You can stitch just a little bit above it. It's totally fine. And you can grab that piece. I'm going to show you in a minute. You see? Right here, you see, I started just a little bit above it. Right here. Okay. So you want to do that. You do carefully so you don't push the piece, the stitch out. Okay, so now I'm going to continue stitching this row. And you can do teeny tiny little stitches, or you can do longer stitches. The longer stitches might fall into the category of cantha. And cantha is another way to create a quilt. And it's basically using sarongs and different pieces of silky garments in India, and using a longer cantha stitch, which they call cantha, to sew them all together. I'm just going to put this pin over here. And it's a lovely, lovely way to create blankets and quilts. So it's typically called the cantha stitch when you do that, longer stitch. These are smaller, a little bit more, there's not too much space between these. So now we are done with the first round, well, just about. You notice when I stop, I kind of pull it and make it nice, little snug, make sure everything's pulled through and it looks nice and neat. You know, I mean, everyone gets their own little kind of way to do it, but okay, now I want to show you this. Okay, this is important. Up here, you see we're at the end. Let me show you this way. We're at the end. I'm going to put this through. Okay. You see how it's even and flush with that? Well, when you continue, you don't want that. You want to bring it, you kind of want to space it between the top row and your side row. You want to space it about 1/8 to 1/2 inch or whatever, however you want it spaced, and you're going to bring it up through. And that's what we're going to do. First, we're going to do our second. First, we're going to put that to the side. We're going to put that to the side, and we're going to now lay out our second row. So now, using the same fabrics or the same type of fabrics, we may run into some what you call, oh, hang on here, some repeats. But so what I'm going to do is I just happen to have a few different colors over here, really small pieces kind of ready to go. And I'm just going to pull from a few of these, because these are really pretty. Let's see here. This is one. I really like that one. And these are some more just kind of cut. These are already cut, you know. And these are lovely. So we're just going to kind of use these. This one's not cut too good there. Very pretty fabrics. And I'm going to be honest, I'm really glad I saved these, because in the past I used to take all my little ones like that and put them to the thrift shop. And what I'm doing now is I'm actually just able to pull them like this and use them. I mean, I can just use them. You know, I can add them to this whole theme. And they're just lovely. I just love these. Okay. So, all right. So that's good right there. Now, you're going to notice very quickly how this closes in. Okay. So, this, if you remember, this is our bottom with the seam. Okay. So we're going to start at the top. And this is where we started, remember, with the blue and going across. So now what you're going to do is you're going to focus on the space that is immediately, for those of you scrolling, we're doing a Kiwandi piece. We're starting our second row. So the second row, you're going to focus on the space that is immediately following your very first piece you laid down. So here it is. Here's the space. And so we're going to put a piece of fabric there. You want to make sure the fabric is at least a half an inch or eighth of an inch or half an inch overlapping or underlapping. Okay, so you want to do that. And you can do it this way if you want, or you can do it this way if you want. It's up to you. It doesn't matter. You can go any way. And people are like, well, no, Carmella, with Kiwandi, you have to have them even, but you don't. There's variations of Kiwandi. So, well, I'll try to do one where everything's even, but I love doing the uneven because that's kind of what we work with is the scraps. So I'm going to put that one like that. And then we still have this little space right here. So, I'm going to pull, I'm going to put this here. I want to underlap that because I really like those little daisies there. And I don't even have to have that flush, but the thing of it is that what you want to do, again, is focus on overlapping or underlapping an eighth of an inch or half an inch. If you go too far up or too far in, then you just kind of don't get done and you kind of lose your perspective. Okay? So just bring that about an eighth of an inch under or over. Okay. So then we still have this space right here. So we'll take this piece and I'm just going to cut that. And I'm just going to focus on this space. And I'm going to underlap that. Okay. So this needs to be covering this space and an eighth of an inch all around the sides there. All of those fabrics you want covered. So that's that's our second row going across. And yes, you can go ahead and start sewing it if you want. I'm not going to do that because I like to see and keep my perspective of my design. I just really do. So I'm going to turn this way, and the needle and thread is still there. You're going to see how fast this closes up. So I'm going to take this piece, and I can make it smaller, or I can just leave it. And I'm just going to leave it, and I'm going to underlap these pieces in the immediate space that's there and the pieces on the side. There. Yeah, that's looking really good. And this, yeah, I think I'll just leave that on top. Okay. So then I'm going to come down next, and I'm going to look at my immediate space here, and I'm going to do the same thing. So it may be flush, it may not. And I'm going to I'm underlapping that. I actually do want to underlap this too. Yeah, like that. And I can leave it flush. We'll leave it flush. That'll be easier for you to see. And this one, my immediate space, we're still on our second row. Look how pretty this is. And this is our very last space on our second row. And we can tuck it in if we want. We want to make sure it's over enough. It's underlap and overlapping all of your pieces, or you can end up with holes and whatnot like that. And like I said, if you do, it's an easy fix. You just add your fabrics over it like a patch. Okay, so we're almost done with this. So we're going to turn it now this way. Okay, and we're going to focus. You see how short the space is for this row? It's very, very short. And I think I'd like to put some purple over here. Now I have to focus on this space. So I may not, so let's see, I maybe use some, a piece like this that's going to cover this and cover this. Okay, now I have this space. And I'm going to use this. I'm going to underlap that. You see that? See the space? Teeny tiny bit of space there when I added that other patch. That's good. That's what you want. Okay. Now, over here, I'm not really overlapping that much. I did take care of my immediate space, but that tells me that I should have another piece there. Absolutely. So I can consider that my second row, like that, and then turn it. Okay, and this is also part of my second row. Kind of hiding the pretty designs I really like. So I'm going to tuck it in. That's how I'm doing this. I want to tuck it in and do what they call under. It's an underlap. Putting it under, okay? This is lovely. This is lovely. Okay. So you see how little space we have left. We're almost done. We're on our second row going up here. And you're like, well, Carmella, it doesn't show much. It's okay because it's there and it's filling in that space. So that's what you want. That's mission accomplished right there. So I'm going to take this and I'm looking at my immediate space here. Look how everything's closing in. You see it closing in? Right there, it's closing in. So that's my second row. That's complete. My second. This is not overlapping a heck of a lot right there. So I want to be conscious of that. That piece might be too small. So let's see. I think I like a nice purple piece there. I'm going to do that. I'm going to underlap it. Yeah. There. That's my second row. So the way that you keep track of these rows is by looking at your immediate space that you have right after your first row. Okay, that's how you do it. Now we're turning this, and now we are back at the top, and we're going to do our third row. And you're like, well, Carmella, there's nothing there to do. But there is. You can see your denim. You can see your denim. So I keep turning because when you have a larger piece, you can get confused very quickly, trust me, on these rows. But I'm just trying to get some smaller pieces here. So this is my third row right here of my sorry, pull that. You want to be careful not to cover up your pins too much there. This is the third and final row for the for this side. Okay, now I'm going to turn it. I just turn it to keep my perspective. And this one, I like the flowers. I can see very easily that the flowers are kind of going in the middle there. So let's see, I'll use this blue. Okay, so here we are on this side, our third row. And that just happens to fall in the middle. It just does. This isn't covering up that space as much as I'd like. So I want to make sure that that's completely covered. Okay, I'm still working my third row on this side. I'm using smaller pieces because I'm very aware that my spaces are smaller. I kind of want to put that way. And this may cover it up. We'll see. It may complete it, or it may not. Oh, that's totally going to complete it. That's totally going to complete it. But I do want this, again, I have two of those. This is a very thin fabric. You see here, see the space left? So if it completes it, when you've got this on one side and you're like, well, I didn't turn it 4 times, that's okay. That's okay. But you want to check it out and make sure everything is overlapped a 1/2 inch or, you know, 1/8 of an inch or whatever. You can do that too, just double check everything. So I'm going to fill that immediate space. But this pin is in my way. Oh, that's lovely. That's lovely. Really good. You gotta be careful with the pins at this point because seriously, you can miss them and then you can really hurt your finger. You'll hurt yourself if you're not seeing them clearly, like as you're sewing. Okay, so here we are at the end. I think I got everything pinned. Okay, so now what we're going to do is start our second row of our Kiwandi stitching. And we were up here. Look how lovely that is. I just love that. And you're like, well, where's the center? This is the center. This is the center. Right here. Sometimes this may truly be the center. It's a little bit off, and that's not unusual. But this is a Kiwandi piece. So, and Kiwandi inspired. So I'm starting up here. You see where I'm putting the needle in? You see I'm starting about 1/8 of an inch from either side, from the top, from my first stitching and side stitching or rows here. Okay, and you'll see it better in a minute. So now I'm going to start stitching across. Now this stitching is going to come into the center rather quickly. We're going to, after the second row, you're going to see it. Now, if when you're stitching, which could happen, some of the pieces start to, now look, some of the pieces start to split. You just got to pin them again. Now here, you see how we're approaching the end, the corner? So just stop before, don't go all the way to the end. Don't go all the way to the end because you're doing your little squares. You're doing rounds. And guess what? We're already done with the first row. That's the thing about Kiwandi. You do get done with these small pieces rather quickly. Okay, so let's turn it. Now we're going to go, we can see better. We go 1 stitch. Okay, let me just show you. You see? Get the needle and thread in the back of your piece. Look at the front of the piece. and then bring the needle up right below, if I can show you here. See this piece? Your second row. See that stitch? Bring it up right below that, because you're continuing now this way. Now I'm going to do a back stitch not because there's a pattern, not any of that, because I can see clearly right here that the stitch came up and skipped, so I want to grab that. So I'm going to do a back stitch, that's all. And then I'm going to continue. I'll do a back stitch and come up. I'm going to show you. See that? You see the back stitch? Made sure that's nice and secure. That's what the viewer, one of my viewers, a number of my viewers are like, well, wait a minute, how do I get those stitches? It's okay to do your back stitches. And if you can't, if you missed it, go back and do it. It's okay. You can do that. Are you ruining your artistry? No, you're not. You're learning. You're learning. You'll grab those loose pieces better and better and better as you go along. As you practice at every piece you do, you're going to notice more and more and more. You're going to tighten them as you go along too. Double check on that. Now here we are, you see right here? Here we are, again with another end piece. So I want to make sure I grab that. Whoops, kind of messing up my little design here. Whoops. Oh, I had that under, okay. Forgetting what I overlapped and underlapped. That's the thing about moving it too much. Okay. So I'll leave this like this so you can see. We're almost done with this side already. You see? It's beautiful. So these puckered up a little bit. That's okay. That's because, guess what? I didn't put a pin there. So I want to double check and make sure my spaces are covered there. This is where you can get a little mixed up if you're not careful. If you're not it's okay though. It's okay. There it is. Keep that in its place because we're not to our third row yet. This is a tiny little pin. I like using the pins that are very clear for me to see. I want to be able to see these clearly. If they're too tiny, I just really can't. Okay, so we're almost done with this row. Now, if you get puckering, that's okay. That's a signature. It is. It's part of Kiwandi. It is. That's a fact. As you go towards the center, you will get puckering of the fabric. If you don't want puckering, you can work on that. You can work on it. I'm sure there's a way. But just because of the structure of the layout, like the layout, you're building it towards the center. Okay, look, I'm kind of out of thread here. So I'm just going to pull that through and rethread. And I'll weave it in towards the end there. I will weave it in. Let me do that. And you can use a teeny tiny little crochet hook to do so. That will help. And the more stitches you get, the more you can weave it. You know, kind of mix it up a little. I'm just doing these two right there. Okay. Look. Look, look how lovely. It is coming out lovely. Okay, now you're going to see as we go around. Okay. tie your knots. Some people tie, some people don't. I tie because it just gives me assurance that I tie it, but I don't like pull it tight, 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 because you don't want to, like if you are making these pieces for someone, you're selling them and they kind of spray it and dab it and wash it. I'm sorry, I'm having a, there we go. You don't want the knot to be right up in the, to pull through, you know what I mean, as the fabric tightens a little. Okay, so we stopped here. We stopped right in the middle of a row, so that's fine. We'll just continue a little bit of a space there. And in here, I'm going to do a backspace. This is going to grab the little tequila here. Tequila. It's going to grab it. Oops. See? I'll show you in a second here. Now, if you wanted to, you could sew your little tequilas on later. You could. I mean, it's up to you what kind of design you want. Okay, so now you see here, I'm going to do a stitch. You see, I'm stopping before I get to the end. So now I'm going to turn. I'm bringing my needle in the back here, so I'm going to show you. You see the second row beginning? Here, I'll show you. Let's do a few more stitches. See? First row, second row. You see it? But that's how you do your corners. Now I'm going to go along a little bit here. If you have any questions, let me know. If you're out there working your Kiwandi, some of you do an amazing job out there. All of you do. Not some of you, all of you. All of you are amazing artisans. You're amazing artisans. I have a few of you sharing your work with me, and I just love it when you do that. Okay. Now you see I pulled that a tiny bit there. I want to tighten it, make sure. Now I'm coming very quickly again to the end. And I didn't go all the way to the end. I came just stopping right before it. And again, now this time kind of the needle is just right there, perfect. So I'm going to just continue on this side now, and I'm going to make continue my second row. I'm going to show you, see? You see it? Okay, and I'm going to do a back stitch here because I can see I have to grab the fabric. And it's okay. Do your back stitches. They're not going to hurt your artistry. They're not going to hurt it. It's part of the artistry. I can see some of my fabrics are coming out here. Let me turn that. Now we're going to come to the third round very shortly here. Look. And this is beautiful. I really like this piece. Now the other thing is when we add like a ribbon or we add adornment the way we want. Now, you can pin yours way better than I did. I usually would put many more pins in because I don't care for this coming out so much. Okay. Now you can see, now right here, you see, I want to show you this. When you are at the edge of a piece like this and you're doing a vertical, like it's a vertical stitch and not, and it can use a horizontal, just keep that in mind when you are working, because I'm going to do a back stitch there and come up, but I want to make sure that's grabbed in my next row. Now guess what, I'm already starting my next row, so I'm going to bring a teeny tiny stitch and go in the back and turn this. We're at the top again, we're at the top. Okay, so now I'm starting my third round of Kiwandi. So I'm coming in because, well, first of all, I want to make sure I know where I'm at here. I'm going to come in here. Now, can you make these rounds closer? Yes, you absolutely can. If you feel you kind of miss things and these rounds weren't close enough, can you add rounds in between? That's what one of my viewers was asking. And I say, yes, you can. Absolutely, you can. So, because, you know, I'm all about creativity. I'm like, don't limit yourself. Don't limit yourself. Go ahead and go back if you feel that that needs more rounds. Absolutely. And then the next piece you do, you can just do the rounds a little tiny bit closer together. That's all. Now look how quickly, now we're almost out of thread again. Or lacy, crochet lacy yarn. I think I can get one back stitch out of that. Hi, little Mashuki and Umi. So I gave them a third birdseed dish in there, but I don't think they can get the seed out of it. It's kind of a weird dish. Anyway, they have two dishes that they can get the seed out nice and easily. Okay, so we are on the back. You see the back? You see the spacing? Some people work strictly looking at the back. They do, that's what they do. Not everybody. Let me just kind of get some more thread. So you're going to see we're almost done. Thank you for being with me, guys. You can switch the color of the thread if you want, or stay with the same. So, but thank you for being with me today. You're making my day really wonderful. And, oh, they did figure out how to get the seed out. I got the finches right in front of me here. Okay. Okay, so watch how quickly we're almost at the end of the third row round here. We're almost at the end. So just make a knot or a couple knots, and I'm gonna come up through here. You see, I start in the back. Well, of course, because of my knot. Okay. Now I notice very quickly. Hi guys. You see how very quickly you're at the end of that already. You're going to turn. You see it in the back? Here you are. Right here. This is where we are. So we want to go down. So we're going to turn it. And we're going to go down. That's the only thing I would say is with your practicing your visible stitching, that the one thing with the Kiwandi, like once you get your visible stitching, is just being mindful of when to turn. That's all. And I went through it. I was like at the end of the row before I knew it, and I'm like, whoa. So I just pulled the stitch out, you know, went back. I got used to doing my back stitches. Like I'm just right now doing a back stitch. And as I've been showing you the back stitches as we go. And the experts, the city women of India, they do back stitches. And, you know, they just do them intuitively. I mean, they just do them. They know. Whoops. So we're almost to the end of this. And I know I have a piece of fabric there that is very close to my needle. I'm going to show you. I don't know if you can see. The edge of this is very close, but I'm just not grabbing it. But that's okay. Yeah. There. See this? It kind of, sometimes the stitches will kind of fall a little under. That's all right. That's all right. Don't worry about that. You'll grab it. The genius, and I mean absolute genius part of Kiwandi is going around in the rounds. It's genius because inevitably the vertical will be a horizontal. It just is. It's when I realized how genius this was, I just couldn't get over it. I just was like at nights just awake thinking, oh my God, like how did they do that? No, seriously. Okay, now I'm doing a back stitch here. Now I am going horizontally. This is what I'm talking about. I'm making sure I'm keeping my space. And as I go around, because I'm turning, okay? So, anyway, these pieces, whether you're making a Boro Sashiko or Kiwandi, these pieces are ingenious and they are highly sustainable. You don't think that they are, but you're paying attention and doing your stitches. I mean, yes, they are. And if you don't think so, go ahead and try to take one apart after you have absolutely completed it. And you'll see it's not that easy. And keep it in your house, test it, you know, hang it up on the wall, move it around. Now I'm going to turn and keeping my space between my rows. My pin is coming out over here. So I just want to make sure. Okay. And just look at this though, seriously. I'm going to hold it up in a second for those of you scrolling or watching. I just love this piece. I just do. I mean, I fell in love with the pattern. Okay, this, look how it's coming along. I mean, I'm just loving this. Now, you don't have to do it how I'm doing it. You can definitely sew row by row. You don't have to like have them all on there like I'm doing. I find it, if I get the first couple of rows sewn on, I find it like a small piece like this, the rest of it I can just kind of go ahead and sew it, like put all of the pieces on and then sew it. It's like totally fine. It works for me, even though the irritation may be, oh, it's shifting a little. But look, once you know it's grabbed, just take the pin out once that piece has been sewn on. Now look, we're almost done with this row. This is where it gets really super quick. The closer you get to the center, and we're going to stop. We're not going to stop. We're stopping that stitch right here, because if we go, we could grab that. We could grab that. We'd be okay with that. Okay, and then we're going to turn now, though. It's time to turn it, tug it a little bit, and now you're starting your next little square. And you just pick it up and get these. I have a very little amount of thread, so I'm going to rethread this. I'm just going to tug that, make sure it's nice. I'm going to do a back stitch because I need one right there, and bring it. See? You see how it's all coming together? So beautiful, so beautiful. It just is. And this is kind of how I start to get the thread so it gets a little confused. You know what I mean? You want to put it in a maze. Yarns and fabrics, they have this memory. So you want to kind of confuse it, so it doesn't work its way back out. Okay, so now we're going to do more crochet, lacy thread here. And here we go. Oh, I think I'm going to use the blue. Let's go to the blue. Hey, Mishuki and Umi. Hi. My birds are looking at me like, talk to me. They actually, I think, understand now that when I do a video, like they don't understand it's a video, but they know this is part of a routine now that I do. Okay, so we have stopped in the middle of a row, and we have stopped. I just want to show you, for those of you following, we have stopped right here. You see it? We've got a piece of fabric that needs to be sewn down. So I'm going to just start a little before that, just kind of go over that one last stitch that's there. I'm just going to go over it and then continue. But guess what? I do a few stitches and I'm almost to the end of the row again. That's just how it is. You see it? Now, when you get to the end here, if it's not perfectly spaced the way you want it, that's okay. What you can do is you can use grids, and there are grids out there. I kind of want to stop right there. I want to be able to turn. So I just did a couple smaller stitches. But there are grids that you can use, or you can use a type of fabric until you get really used to it that has like this, like the checkers on it. So now we're going to go down. We're getting really close to completing this piece. I straighten everything out. I want to make sure it's nice and snug. You're going to see the puckering start too in the next couple of rounds. Okay. That's not puckering, that was the fabric coming out. I'll show you the puckering as we get closer. Okay. So I'm just going to take this pin out. Straighten that out a little bit. I want to straighten this out a little bit. Okay, because I can see that they got a little crooked there. If sometimes you have to do one piece at a time, that's okay. One stitch at a time, that's okay. The sashiko stitching calls for 3 or 4 stitches in a row, and typically you do that. We've been doing that straight through. But sometimes maybe you got to stop and you got to just focus on your edges a little bit. You want to make sure you're grabbing them and that type of deal. That's where you're going to do. You're going to stop and you're going to do your back stitch right here. We're doing a back stitch. And we're going forward. And we're coming very close to the end of this particular round. And I'm straightening everything out. And I'm going to put this through and I'm going to turn already. I'm turning. I really like these purple in here. Okay, so now I am going to go this way, turning, and you're going to see, look how quickly, that's a couple little stitches right there. This piece of fabric is grabbed, so I'm going to move that pin. And now this one's going to get grabbed, and I'm going to move that pin as soon as it does. But you're going to see how quickly we're at the end of this. Take this out. Straighten out my nice, beautiful little design here. Yeah, what you saying to me, Mashuki? Huh? Okay. There. Now I'm going to turn it towards me and I'm going to continue. Look. Now, when you get the overlapping and underlapping, sometimes between the second, third, or fourth rows. Sometimes you have a few more pieces of fabric than you anticipated, and it may feel like, oh wow, that's not just one piece I'm going through a few of them there. But that's all right. That's all right. That's totally normal. That's whoops, I gotta take that pin out. That's because of different little parts of it, because of your overlapping and underlapping. That's what happens. Now you see here, the stitch went underneath. That's fine. We can put a whole nother row there, or we can do extra stitching in our next row to make sure we grab that. Okay, so this is stitched. Everything's caught there. This is caught. And I think we're going to be on the last, almost piece. We only have a couple pins in there. We're going to take that one out. Okay. And I'm going to do a back stitch right here. So yeah, when you feel the thickness, that is totally normal. That is because you have rows now that have stacked up a little bit, and that is partly also why it's puckering as you get towards the center, which is totally normal. I hope you can see. It's starting to get dark here. I don't know what time it is. It must be getting on in the afternoon, guys. But you know what? I wanted to take my time with you today because I feel I'm always getting on here and trying to rush through it. And I'm like, you know what? That you can definitely forward, like, go forward in the video, and or you can just, kind of just have it on and just grab whatever it is of information that you need to do your beautiful Kiwandi or sashiko stitching projects. So now I'm going to turn again in about one stitch. Yeah. Now I'm turning, and I'm going to very quickly do a back stitch. Now on these spacing between your sashiko stitching rounds for your Kiwandi. Do not worry if it's too far apart, because as I said, yes, you can certainly go back in and add a round. You can add, and you see what the back is looking like here. You can see your rounds, okay? You see them. So if you're adding a round, you're not hurting your artistry. You're really, really not. Okay, now I'm going to turn this already this way. And I'm going to watch this because I'm going to run out of thread in about 2 seconds here. So I'm coming up here, pushing my needle through. I'm grabbing a number of stitches. I can feel the fabrics there. This is lovely. Yeah. Yeah, this is so relaxing too. I have to tell you, I mean, I gotta do a back stitch here. I just love the process. You know where I learned about process? I was very young, and a professor in the college, I had this little gift going where I could just visualize like what I was studying. I could visualize equations, like I could visualize pages. I could visualize. I had this professor, I boasted to him, oh, I know what it is. I know the answer. You know, I got it. I got it right in my mind. I got it. And he said to me, this is what he said. He said, why don't you try learning what you're visualizing? Like, actually learn it. And he was right. So I did. That's where I really got an appreciation for the process. Processing is learning, being creative, experimenting, all of it. This is lovely. Okay, so we're almost to the end here of this thread. Now I want to take a minute. Oh, we got a few more. I want to take a minute and just kind of, I want that purple out there, yeah. And okay, this is lovely. We're almost done, guys. And you know, for such a beautiful detailed piece, it's amazing. I know we've been on the video here a little bit, but it is amazing. I need this light a little bit more here. There. But it is amazing on how fast, in general, that it goes. Okay, so I'm going to do that one more stitch. I could have just pulled it out, but... And I'm going to just kind of weave it. Now, I just want to show, I want to bring something to your attention. I just want to show you something. I'm weaving these in and out, but look, you see the white one here? You see how it got caught up in the blue stitching? I didn't do that. That happens naturally. So that will happen naturally as you go. Okay. So now we stopped up here. I'm straightening out my pieces. And we're closing in on this. This is almost done. And then we're going to talk about I want to show you just one little thing about the tequila in you adorning your piece. Oops, I can't seem to get this one in. There. Now, a little tip that I do, what I'll do a lot of times is I will thread about 5 or 6 of these embroidery needles. I probably should have done that for this project. Okay, so now we are right here. We're just a couple stitches away from the next round. Okay, and so I need to turn this towards me like this so I can see really well. And I'm just going to go 1, 2. Now I want to show you something. I'm going to do a back stitch here because I want to grab that. But I'm going to come up. I'm coming up and I'm going to start my next round. But is a back stitch that was necessary right there. But I'm also starting my next round. I'll show you here. Let me just do a couple stitches. Well, that's pretty close. We are pretty close to the, see, I want to show you something. I came very close. You see how it's on the angle there? That's because I did a back stitch and then came up. I'm quite close to the other row. But I'm going to go ahead and do this because it's okay to be that close. I just want to show you. It really is. Oops, and I got to turn already. Look, I did 3 stitches and I have to turn. That's how quickly this starts to go. Plus, we're working with a little rectangle here. I'm going to turn it this way. And I could stay as close as I did the top part there. But I'll keep it close, yeah. I'm going to show you here. You just go straight down. See, there's your row. Can you see it? It is getting dark, actually. Okay, so we'll finish up this project. I really wanted to do the whole thing with you. I really do, because I do know that this is a question. A lot of people doing the Kiwandi, you're learning Kiwandi, and you're having questions when you get to the middle. So I really do want to show you the middle. Now, I've done videos with the middle. Pin this down again. And I don't know, they're probably tucked in the over 700 videos we have out there. Actually, this piece, look, I'm just going to, just see if I can move that a tiny bit. I don't know. I don't want to move it too much. There. Now I'll pin it. It just keeps moving. There. But this is going to be one of those where the stitch is just going to miss the end of the fabric, but that's okay. You just continue to go. Because you're going to grab it when you come back up. And here I'm going to do a back stitch again. And I am very close, ready for a turn. This is lovely. Okay, so yeah, one more stitch. Okay, you see? We did all our stitches, and now we're going to turn this way. And I'm being conscious of my spacing. This particular right here is a lot of fabrics right there. Little stacking because we were 1, 2, 3 rows. And when those fabrics overlap or underlap, that's normal. I'm going to take that pin out because I got the puckering is beginning. Okay, now this is where you need to watch very carefully because now you are very quickly turning. Okay, you start to turn very quickly. So if you need to slow down when you get to this point, that's okay. And the puckering is beginning, so it's okay. You just want to make sure that your fabrics are overlapped or underlapped the correct way. So with that. And okay, yeah. Here I can do about 4 or 5 stitches. That's a nice sashiko run. Okay, and now, oh, let me turn this music down a little. I don't know if you can hear that, but that's classical. It's like, you know, from the 1800s. Okay. Okay. There we go. Okay, now I'm going to, you see how it's closing in? Can you see the back? Okay, now we're going to turn. This is going to become very short because we're doing a rectangle. So this is super short. You know, 3 or 4 stitches and we're like towards the end. And what's going to happen, it's closing in. Now we're going to turn very quickly like that. And these pieces just keep wanting to jump out. Maybe I need to get longer needles there. Pins. Okay. So for those of you, if anyone's out there scrolling, we're doing a Kiwandi piece. And we are nearly done. We got some pieces we're having to tuck in a couple times. But these are small pieces, so that I would expect a little bit, yes. And that's why I stop and kind of make sure it's nice and neat. This, we could do another back stitch kind of right there. We don't even have to go all the way around the edge. We could just grab it like that. Oh, that's good. And here, another back stitch, and then we're going to end this here. And we're getting to, this is our center, so we're kind of want to make sure that's secure. I don't know, that keeps jumping out. There. I probably should have a few pins there. That's probably what the real issue is. I usually have several pins. Okay. So now I'm having a hard time seeing the blue with the sun going down out there. So I am going to switch back to my white just so we can see. I hope everyone is staying warm out there. They're calling for another storm at the end of, I think this week. Okay. So this is what it's looking like in the back. Okay. And if you are stitching along and you have any questions, let me know. Okay, so you see, I want to just point something out to you. Underneath here, you see how these are shifting and everything? And we took the time to really take pieces that and lay them out that were larger and making sure they were going to cover the whole area. That's partly why, because it will shift like that. Okay, so here's where we ended, and we're going to come up here. And now with the white already I can see better. The blue was just blending so much. I was having difficulty there. See, it's the lighting too. And probably because I need glasses. Let's see. Okay. Now I'm going to do a back stitch here. I have 1, 2, 3 pieces of fabric that are kind of right on each other there. Now, you're probably saying, well, Carmella, you wouldn't go through all this if the pieces were even. True. That is true. However, I just totally love the process. Okay, now we're going to turn again. We're going to turn. And we're going to go. Look how short this is becoming now. Okay. It doesn't seem it because I keep stopping to straighten out the fabrics, but that is part of the process. You do want to straighten out your fabrics, yes. Oops, that's too close that's too close. This is where you want to really watch it when you're getting really closed in. It's time to kind of start the next turn to do your turn. And that's where you get your puckering, okay? That's okay. Just tighten your stitches, turn. As long as your fabrics are laid in place, like I keep trying to get these, you're totally fine. I do want to do a back stitch here. There we go. I am going to put the music off. I'm going to tell you why. The birds are responding to the put it down, because they're responding to the it's one of the dark classics, and it's bothering actually the keys that they're playing or scaring the birds, because it's the the lower keys. It's okay, Umi, Mashuki. Okay, now there. Now this is all in real time, okay? So it's not, and I mean, and I took some time in the beginning to talk, and I've kind of been stopping and, making it nice and neat. So, this is something that you can probably do in a lot less time than I've been taking to show you. But it is in real time, which is lovely. There, now we turn again. I'm sorry, I should have told you I turned. We're turning again, getting closer to the center. And I want to show you in this particular piece, because this may do what I did last time, was go up and down without going horizontally a couple of times. We'll see. Now I'm going to do a back stitch. I'm kind of double checking, making sure all these pins are out. Okay, I just want to show you what it's looking like now. Okay, you see? You see it? Okay, so we're almost done. We are really almost done. You will see what I mean, how quickly now. We may have to thread the needle one more time, but I think that will be it. And here I'm going to do a back stitch. And now we're going to turn. This is lovely. Yeah. Keeping your spacing. I'll show you in the back. Keeping your spacing. You see? And then we turn it. And we're getting closer to the center. And I want to show you something after. I just want to be able to speak to a little bit about if you feel like you need to do a center. Another row. And I'm going to show you the puckering. We're almost done with this particular row. And now we're going to turn. You start to turn quickly. I'm going to do a back stitch and then I'm going to thread one more time. So I want to show you. Okay. You see the puckering beginning? Can you see it through the piece? That's totally normal. Okay. So now if you don't want the puckering, I'm not sure how you're going to get around it, but with this particular method anyway. I guess what you could do is just not have any overlapping or underlapping, but then you're getting to back traditional quilting. Okay, now let's see where I'm at here. Okay, so I'm down here, and I'm really on my last run. So you can, you're probably saying, well, what shapes can I do? You can do squares, you can do triangles, you could do a circle like I did. I don't know where my circle is. I'll get my circle out. I actually did my Kiwandi. Actually, the Kiwandi method is what helped me figure out. I was trying to do something. I was trying to do a mandala, and the video is on this channel, but I was trying to do a mandala, and I couldn't figure out how to get the pieces on there, and then I decided I was inspired to use the Kiwandi method. I was inspired by their method, and that's how I did it, and I'll share that with you. We could do another one like that. That came out really lovely, and I think it took me weeks, if not a month, to do that particular project. Okay, now we're going to turn it, and we'll probably only have a couple of stitches here horizontally, and then we're going to turn it again. You see how quickly we're turning? Actually, let me get this. I do want to grab that. Come back. And continue. And I see another back stitch right here. And you see, I'm going to hold this up so you can see it. It's when you tighten these a little bit that you get a pucker. And it's because it's centering. You see? And I'm going to put the camera up in a few minutes when we're done here, and I'll hold it straight up so you can see. And then, because also I want to check and see if there's any of the denim showing. Because if it is, I want to be able to put another piece of fabric on it. And you're like, well, no, you can't do that, Carmella, because we've already done the piece. No, but we can. That's the beauty of the patch, of Japanese patchwork or the Kiwandi, is you're using your patches here. So you can actually do that. Now I'm turning. Okay, now we're narrowing in on the center, you see? You see we have very little space there in the center. So I've got a number of layers of fabrics here. And so I'm going to be focusing on making sure I'm grabbing end pieces. Now, after this, I'm going to turn this and show you, because we're going to have we're going to come down straight in a minute. And we have to, actually, because we're out of going back and forth and horizontal. We're out of that space. So there's going to be one stitch right here where we're going to go across, and then we're going to go down. And then we're going to be done. Go. And then we'll go over this. I'm just looking at the back. See where we are in the back? See that space? We're going to go right down that space. Okay. Always use the back for your guidance if you need it. It's okay. There are people who work strictly on the back. Like, I can't do that. I have to see what's going on the front piece. But I mean, they will strictly work their design on the back. Yeah. See the back? So let me just go up here. I'm just going to weave this in, and then we're going to hold it up and we're going to talk a minute, because we are done. And all of these, what I will do is I'll clip them like a tiny bit, but I'm also going to weave them in more. Okay, so now I'm going to put this up. I want to thank you all for being with me. Look at me. This is what happens when I work. Look, my hair sticks straight up in the air, and my look, everything falls apart. I don't need this on now. Okay. So this piece, what we could do is come back around and trim this. Okay. And then what you can do if you want is you can do whip stitching. You can put a backing on. So let's say we chose, well, let's just say we chose the daisies to put on the back. We just cut a piece the same size and just simply stitch it. You can fold the edges if you want. You can do a back to front. So now since we're on here and people are still here, which I appreciate you so much, what we're going to do, I'm just going to show you a back to front because it's lovely. And it takes no time at all. So this would be your back, right? So your front, oh, let me put this down. I'm sorry. Okay. So let's get our scrap pieces over here. We're going to talk about those in a minute too. But yeah, so you have this. You just, I'm not going to actually do the sewing because I still need to take some time and spiffy up the back part. But let's just say you wanted to do back to front. Let's say you don't want to do the bottom. Just fold that, fold it. And then, and these would have to be trimmed a little, okay? But basically what you're doing, this definitely has to be trimmed. Okay, so what you would do is fold it like this. That's pretty. You know, I am going to do that. Okay, look, I'm just going to pin this. I mean that's pretty. Hold on a second. I don't know if I can use this piece. I wasn't planning on it to pop like that. I can't really use that piece. I could fold. I could do it like this. You could do it like this. Got too much on the bottom. There. Okay, so fold your top. Do your top. Okay. And pin it. Pin it. That's it, maybe. Oh, okay, now do your bottom. Fold the bottom. I guess, you know, in this case, so we had our seam, like I left the seam on purpose, but I could trim the seam off, you know what I mean? Or I could just, well, let me just try this for the moment. Let me just try this for the moment. I'll figure this one out later. I may trim the seam off. This is so pretty. Sometimes you just don't realize. See, and I still have to work on the measure of that. That's fine. So for now, just to show you, you just fold it. What you have to do for this, okay, is you've got to do either your top and bottom first or your sides first. But don't do like a top and a side, like don't fold a top and a side first. Do the top and bottom first, okay? And then that way you can evenly fold these up the sides. And these are a little iffy because this is a little short. I've got to work on my measure, but I'm going to tell you something. I love this. This is, wow. And you know, I think it's popping because the daisies that we're using right here. So I'm folding this twice, by the way. That's just a very standard. So then here's your back. Okay, and then here's your front. So now I want to, so I'm going to put this up again. So what we're going to do, a couple things you do at the very end, is you want to go through the piece, and you do want to make sure there's not any really super obscure pieces kind of really loose. You know what I mean? Like flapping down, sticking out, you know, just not adhered well. And if it's not, do not be afraid to go in and staying aligned with your stitches. Do another whole round or do a couple stitches where you see necessary. If it's going to throw the whole thing off, yeah, just go around. Especially with a small piece like this, it's not going to hurt it. But look at this. This was our top right here. So with this, we could do a couple things. We could just sew a few little pieces of twine on the corners and just kind of hang it right on this little, I think that's what I'm going to do. You know, we started out with, I'm like, yeah, I'm going to put it up here and then I'm going to fold it over. I mean, that is something you could do, but it kind of takes away. I'm kind of liking the little pieces or the ribbons, okay? Now, the other thing you can do, just to finish up here, you know how we put our little tickly, I think that's how you say it, on here. Okay, so with the traditional Kiwandi, what they do is put little, what they call florals. They put little florals on the corners. And you can do that. They're kind of like a little tassel. But then that's a very traditional, that's part of the City Women of India, their tradition. Okay, and it's very meaningful to them. So because I'm inspired, I typically don't put the little fiore or florals on the corners. I kind of do, like I'll take something like this. Oh, where's that piece? This is what was intriguing me, was this, and maybe I'll put a little bow or a little ribbon or something on. I just love this. I don't know. This might be kind of what I put up here to have it hang on this. Now that would make it pop. So anyway, I just wanted to be here today with you. We've been here a long time. So, you know, feel free to skip through if you repeat it. And with that, once I have it complete, I'll come back and show you. And today's Sunday, so yeah, it will be totally this week. So we'll see you very shortly, very soon. You have an absolutely beautiful rest of your day. A love and light.